Elaboration. Ways to elaborate by Sandra Palyugi, 4th grade teacher. Ways to elaborate. Today we're going to use the acronym EEDDR. Let me explain what they are. Explain for the first E. The second E is exemplify, or give an example. The first D is describe. Describe what it looks like in literal language. What does it literally look like? Use your eyes and descriptive words, and do your best. Describe with figurative language. Use a simile, a metaphor, a hyperbole, an alliteration. And finally, R, relate. Tell a one-time story about something that personally happened to you that supports your main idea. Let's talk about Miss Maggie. Miss Maggie is an eccentric kind of person. So if we use the first E for explanation, some of your story starters can be, by this I mean, this means that, to clarify, to explicate. In other words, here's what I came up with. Miss Maggie is an eccentric kind of person. By this I mean, she is extraordinarily odd. Now it's your turn. Explain, in a sentence or two, this photo. You may stop the video now and write your sentences. Welcome back. Here's Miss Maggie again. Remember, Miss Maggie is an eccentric kind of person. So let's use our second E in our acronym. Give an example. Here are some sentence starters. For example, an example of, so to exemplify, and here's what I came up with. One small example of this is the time she wore a Santa suit to a summer barbecue. Now it's your turn. Write a sentence or two elaborating on this photo. Give an example. Pause the video, and when you're finished, start it again. Hello again. Here's Miss Maggie. Miss Maggie is an eccentric kind of person. Now we're going to describe her with literal language. Use concrete nouns, specific adjectives, and very strong verbs. Here's what I did. Her never-ending smile creases her face, creating deep valleys, surrounded by crests of leathery skin. It's time for you to describe literally. Pause the video and describe in a sentence or two this photo. Well, here's Miss Maggie again. Remember, she is an eccentric kind of person. So let's add another D for figurative language, describing her figuratively, using a simile, a metaphor, personification, hyperbole, or alliteration. I say, she wears her hair stacked high as a pile of pancakes, and her crepe dresses flop noisily around the tops of her baggy beige knee socks. Now you give it a try. Describe this photo figuratively in a sentence or two. Pause the video, and then resume when you're finished. And finally, here's Miss Maggie one more time. Miss Maggie is an eccentric kind of person. Now you need to add an elaboration using an R for relate. Relate in your description a personal experience of your main idea. Here's what I came up with. But for all her weird ways, She is my favorite aunt because she never fails to show she loves me by bringing me small gifts and her homemade raspberry cones dripping with multicolored vanilla icing. Now, can you relate to this photo? Pause your video and write a sentence or two telling about a time that you might have had an experience just like this one. Well, today we learned about elaboration in writing, and if you remember to use in every one of your paragraphs EEDDR, you will be able to support your main idea every time. Remember always to explain, give an example, describe literally, describe figuratively, and relate. Thank you.